It's 5:15 a.m. on the 11th of November 2025. The Southern Caribbean looks calm, but under that glassy water, something moves that shouldn't be there. Out of nowhere, a Virginia-class attack submarine from the US Navy breaks the surface silent, cold, and far too close. Less than 2 nautical miles from a Venezuelan patrol ship, its dark hull cuts through the dawn. On the Venezuelan deck, alarms stutter to life. Men shout, hands grab helmets. The gun turret spins. Nobody knows where it came from. Moments earlier, the radar showed nothing. 0 contacts, clear water, and now there's a $3 billion American war machine staring back at them. Inside the submarine, no one speaks. The captain gives one short order: hold. Then, a single sonar ping echoes across the waves. Not a warning, just a reminder. For 3 long minutes, 2 crews face each other, one above, one below, knowing a single move could turn this quiet morning into the start of something no one can stop. This was no random encounter. It happened in one of the most watched stretches of the Southern Caribbean, a place where smuggling routes, politics, and power constantly collide. For the US, this is more than a patrol, it's a message. A Virginia-class attack submarine isn't built just to hide, it's built to dominate. It carries heavyweight Mike 48 torpedoes and Tomahawk cruise missiles that can strike deep inland, all while staying invisible. The moment it appears this close to a hostile patrol, it's not testing luck, it's testing nerves. For Venezuela, the patrol ship on the surface has its own strength: a 76mm gun, radar-guided fire control, and Chinese-made C-802A anti-ship missiles with a range of about 75 miles. But its sonar isn't made to track a nuclear-powered sub moving in silence under complex thermal layers. That's why this encounter matters. It exposes how fast surface power can vanish once the enemy goes below the waves. To the sailors, it's not about politics, it's about survival. You stare at a radar that shows nothing and feel your pulse in your ears because you know something is out there, watching. Every light flicker, every sonar hiss makes you think of home, and the thought that one wrong order could start a war before breakfast. Strategically, this small moment changes the balance. The US Navy has been building presence across the region for months: destroyers, surveillance planes, even a carrier group moving north. This isn't about random drills, it's about control. Every surfacing, every ping, every silent dive sends a warning. These waters are no longer yours alone. For the US, this test was precision show strength: collect data, then vanish. For Venezuela, it was humiliation caught off guard, forced to face an enemy it couldn't see. The ocean stayed quiet, but the message was loud. Control now belongs to whoever can stay unseen the longest. The Venezuelan patrol ship Mariscal Sucre was cruising its regular dawn route when the lookout shouted, "Dark hull, 2 miles out!" The radar screen was clean, no contact, no echo. But through the binoculars, the men saw it clearly: a massive gray submarine, rising from nowhere. "Contact confirmed!" yelled the radar officer. The captain's voice cut through the noise. "Battle stations, keep weapons cold!" Sirens blared across the deck. Boots pounded metal floors as the crew raced to their post. They'd trained for this, but never thought they'd live it. Inside the US submarine, the air was still. "Hold depth," the captain ordered. No sound, no movement. The crew watched silent screens glowing in dim red light. Every heartbeat was recorded data. Above, the Venezuelan 76mm gun locked on target. "Range steady," a gunner whispered. The captain hovered over the radio key. If he spoke, he'd expose their exact position. If he fired, he could start a war before sunrise. He hesitated. Then came it the sound that froze every man on deck. A single sonar ping cut through the waves. Short, sharp, deliberate. "Active signal detected," said the sonar chief. "Range 1.9 nautical miles." The message was clear. They were being watched. The captain stayed composed. Maintain course, no transmit. He knew every motion was under observation: how fast the radar turned, how long it took the gun to steady, how organized his men sounded on the radio. Every second was being measured by the submarine below. Inside the Virginia class, the XO read from his console. Reaction time, 14 seconds. The captain nodded. That's all we need. For 3 long minutes, 2 warships stared each other down, one in silence, one in fear. Then, the submarine tilted, water rippling as it sank beneath the surface. The Venezuelan radar blinked once, then cleared. Empty ocean again. On deck, no one spoke. The captain lowered his headset. "Log the contact," he said, "and remember the feeling of being seen." Somewhere below, the US submarine glided away. Mission complete. If you were in command, would you have waited or struck first? Press 1 to hold or 9 to fire. The sun climbed over the Caribbean, turning the water gold but doing nothing to warm the fear on the Mariscal Sucre. The crew moved slower now, glancing at the empty horizon as if the sea itself might blink. "Turn 5 degrees to port," the captain ordered. "Passive sonar only." The operator nodded and adjusted gain levels. The speakers hummed softly, no ping, no echo, no sign of life. Only the low, endless thump of the ship's own engines. 400 feet below, the Virginia-class submarine held steady. The captain stood with arms crossed. "Hold depth. Keep sensors live," he said. On his screens, the Venezuelan patrol pattern unfolded perfectly. Each radar sweep, each propeller turn was logged and time-stamped. "They're predictable," the XO said. "That's what we came for." On the surface, tension spread like fog. The Venezuelan captain leaned over the console. "Still no contact?" "Negative," replied the sonar chief. The captain exhaled slowly. He knew silence didn't mean safety, it meant they were being hunted. Every second the radar stayed clear. The threat below grew heavier. Inside the submarine, the crew worked quietly. "Surface vessel speed increasing," the sonar operator said. "They're trying to flush us out." The captain smiled faintly. "Let them waste fuel." The Virginia slid deeper, hiding under a thermal layer that swallowed sound. Minutes passed. The Mariscal Sucre completed a full defensive circle, engines humming harder with each loop. "Permission to launch sonar buoy?" asked the lieutenant. "Denied," the captain said. "They'll hear us before we hear them." A moment of stillness followed only the creak of steel and the sound of men holding their breath. Back below, the submarine watched through invisible eyes. "Reaction time confirmed. Pattern logged," said the XO. The captain checked his watch. 9 minutes, 43 seconds, he said. "Good. Prepare to surface." As the Venezuelan ship steadied its course, no one on deck knew the ghost beneath was about to rise again. Not to attack, but to remind. Control belonged to whoever dared to break the silence first. If you were the one giving orders, would you wait in silence or confront the unseen? Press 1 to hold steady or 9 to make the call. The crew of the Mariscal Sucre believed it was over. The sea was calm, the radar blank. But deep below, the Virginia-class submarine began to rise again. "Surface to 1.9 nautical miles," the American captain ordered. The reactor ran quiet. The propellers barely moved. On the Venezuelan bridge, the sonar flickered once, then vanished. "Possible contact!" shouted the operator. "Range?" "Unclear, sir." Before anyone could react, a single soft ping echoed through the ship. It wasn't loud, but everyone heard it. The Americans were back. The patrol ship jumped to life. "All hands to battle stations." Guns rotated, radar spun, men shouted coordinates. But below the waves, the submarine stayed calm. "Record reaction time," said the XO. 17 seconds. The captain nodded. "That's what we came for." The Venezuelans didn't realize they were already being studied. Every radio call, every engine surge, every pause between orders was being measured. The submarine wasn't attacking, it was profiling. Inside the sub, the captain whispered, "Transmit data." A burst of encrypted signals shot upward, hidden beneath a passing trawler's radar. Within seconds, the data reached Florida, proof of how the enemy reacts under pressure. Above, the sea looked empty again. The Venezuelan radar cleared. "It's gone," the operator said. The captain didn't answer. He already knew. Silence meant they were still being watched. The submarine sank lower, disappearing into the blue. It hadn't fired a shot, but it had taken everything it needed. If you were on that bridge, would you stay quiet or call for help? Press 1 to hold steady, or 9 to alert command. The clock hit 7:02 a.m. when the water around the Mariscal Sucre began to stir again. "Movement detected," the sonar operator yelled. This time, it wasn't a flicker, it was clear. The American submarine had surfaced less than 2 nautical miles away, the same position as before. "Visual confirmed," shouted the lookout. The dark hull of the Virginia class rose slowly, glinting under the morning light. The Venezuelan captain's voice shook. "Weapons hot, but do not fire until I say." Inside the submarine, the American crew stayed silent. "Keep her steady," the captain ordered. "This is the final pass." The sub sensors captured every frequency bouncing off the Venezuelan radar. Above, the Mariscal Sucre scrambled to track it. The 76mm gun locked, radar spun, and tension thickened like the humid air. Then came the sound again, a single, calm ping. It echoed like a heartbeat through the metal hull of the Venezuelan ship. "Sir, they're signaling," said the sonar chief. "Message?" "None. Just presence." 3 minutes felt like forever. On one side, a billion-dollar warship stared into the unknown. On the other, a nuclear machine watched quietly, measuring human reaction second by second. The Venezuelan captain gripped the railing. "They're testing us," he whispered. Inside the Virginia, the captain made the call. "Dive, mission complete." The sub tilted gently, sinking beneath the surface. Water folded over it like nothing had happened. In seconds, the ocean returned to perfect calm. On deck, silence ruled. The Venezuelan radar showed no contacts. The crew stared at the empty sea, their reflections trembling on the water. One sailor finally spoke. "It's like it was never here." The captain didn't answer. He just said, "Log the event. Tag it as intrusion." In Florida, data streamed onto screens inside Southern Command reaction times, radar frequencies, crew coordination speeds. "Transmission complete," said a technician. All parameters logged. The report was short. "Success. Intelligence acquired. No engagement." The sea looked peaceful again, but every man who'd witnessed it knew better. Power now belonged to the side that didn't have to fire a shot. If you were standing on that deck, would you believe the danger had passed, or that it was only beginning? Press 1 if you'd hold your position, or 9 if you'd prepare for the next strike. By sunset, the Mariscal Sucre was back in port. No shots fired, no damage reported, but every man aboard felt different. Some still swore they could hear that single sonar ping echoing inside their heads. The official report used simple words: unidentified submarine contact, no engagement. But between the lines, everyone knew what it meant. Someone had walked into their house, looked around, and left without asking. Command in Caracas ordered immediate changes: wider patrol arcs, rotating radar frequencies, and longer overnight watches. They even added a new drill: silent contact response. The idea was simple: next time, react faster. But everyone understood the truth. When the enemy can appear inside your zone, test your systems, and vanish in minutes, control is just an illusion. Far away in Florida, the mood was different. Inside Southern Command, analysts reviewed the data stream from the Virginia-class submarine. Charts filled with reaction times, radio discipline, and radar sweep intervals. One officer said quietly, "They did exactly what we hoped." Another replied, "Then we know how to move next time." The operation was marked as a success, deterrence by exposure achieved. The encounter changed more than one crew's confidence. It reshaped the map. Washington confirmed more ships, drones, and patrols would enter the Caribbean before winter. Officially, it was part of a counter-narcotics mission. Unofficially, it was a message. These waters were no longer off-limits. Each surfacing, each quiet contact was a reminder that the line between war and watchfulness was thinning by the hour. Back on the Mariscal Sucre, the crew stood on deck watching the calm horizon. The ocean looked peaceful, but they all knew peace could lie. The real weapon wasn't a missile or a torpedo, it was silence, used with precision. The kind that made a navy doubt its own radar, its own safety, even its own control of the sea it called home. If you were in command after that day, would you change your patrol routes or pretend nothing happened? Press 1 if you'd adapt, or 9 if you'd hold your course. And don't forget to subscribe for the next mission because the sea may be quiet, but the story beneath it isn't over yet.